Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we have yet another off-season trade to break down, as the Boston Bruins essentially dump Taylor Hall's $6 million cap hit, as well as pending unrestricted free agent Nick Foligno, in exchange for the signing rights to two young defensemen in Ian Mitchell and Alec Regula. Now, it's pretty obvious why the Bruins made this trade, and that is for cap reasons. As currently, as their depth chart stands right now, they have just 6 NHL caliber forwards signed going into the next year. And now you might have youngsters on ELCs coming up into the system, such as Fabian Lysell, to soften the blow, but at the end of the day, you still need to fill 6 roster spots, and in order to do that, you need to sign players to contracts. And that is essentially what this trade does, as Boston frees up a solid $6 million in cap space, as they don't have to retain any money on Taylor Hall's deal. And as of right now, the Bruins have $10.9 million in cap space, and that will all go to good use, as their 37-year-old captain Patrice Bergeron is still an unrestricted free agent, as well as Tyler Bertuzzi, David Krejci, Garnet Hathaway, and Thomas Nosek. On top of this, a 24-year-old goalie Jeremy Swayman is also still unsigned, but he is an RFA, and with how good Brandon Bussi played last year in the AHL, I'd say it's definitely a possibility that Bussi just steps up and fills that backup role next year, as the Bruins just don't have the cap space to sign Swayman. Now, as for the return, the Bruins got 2 young defensemen that are both RFAs that hopefully they can sign to cheap contracts to get good defensive depth in their system. So nothing overly special there, but in the future, these 2 guys could potentially fill spots on the third pairing defensively. But just an overall win that they didn't have to give up any assets in order to shed $6 million in cap space. This move is pretty essential for the Bruins, as they are definitely in a win now mode, as they do not have a first or second round pick in this or next year's draft. Now, moving on to this trade from the Blackhawks side of the deal, they definitely are the overall winners of this deal, just based on the fact that they got a former Hart Trophy winner 93-point scorer in Taylor Hall for essentially nothing, just 2 depth defensemen that they didn't really need at this point, as they're desperately needing more forwards to have somebody for Connor Bedard to play with once he does get drafted first overall in a couple days from now. As in order for Bedard to fully reach his potential, he does need skill players around him that can complement his game and allow him to grow as a player, as that kind of potential can't be reached if you're just playing with 4th line plugs on your line. No offense to anybody on the Blackhawks, as they still are NHL caliber players, but just not anywhere near the level that Bedard is projected to reach. But now with Athanasiou re-signing and Hall acquired in a trade, it looks like Bedard will have 2 skilled wingers to play with in his first year in Chicago. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the trade. Feel free to sub and like on your way out if you like trade breakdowns and hockey news like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.